Okay, so welcome back. Now in this video, I'm going to talk about the relationships between the trigonometric functions and the angles. And I'm going to talk about the difference between the different types of angles that we will talk about. One is the terminal angle, okay, and the other one is a reference angle. So first of all, the terminal angle is always the angle that is made with the positive x-axis that goes from the positive x-axis. It's the angle that goes from the positive x-axis to the terminal side of the angle. So that is always the terminal angle, okay? The reference angle is the acute angle that goes from the terminal side to the x-axis. It's the acute angle, so it's the smaller angle, it's the acute angle from the terminal side to the x-axis. So in this case here, the terminal angle would be theta 2. For this line segment here, the terminal angle would be theta 2, right? The reference angle would be alpha, okay? So that's the definitions of the vocabulary you want to be aware of. Okay, so now, one of the things we want to use is understand the relationship between the trig functions. I'm going to use tangent just as an example, but this holds true for all of the trig functions. So if I look at the tangent of theta 1, okay, so if I look at tangent of theta 1, that's going to equal what? Well, it's going to equal opposite over adjacent, so that's going to be 4 over 3, so 4/3. Okay, now, if I look at the tangent of theta 2, right, well, what's the tangent of theta 2? Well, what triangle does it make when it's in the second quadrant? So theta 2 goes to the point negative 3, 4. And so then this becomes negative 4/3. Right? Now, but then also, if we look at the angle theta, right? So again, if we look at these triangles, right? Okay, and notice also that this angle and this angle are the same angle. So if we take the tangent of alpha, oops, not theta, so the tangent of alpha is the same as the tangent of theta 2. Right? So now, what's the only difference between among these? Well, the only difference is that you get negative or positive. So what we can see here is that the absolute value, right, so if we take the absolute value of tangent theta 1, then that'll be equal to the absolute value of tangent theta 2, which is equal to the absolute value of tangent of alpha. Okay? In fact, we can actually expand this and just say, well, if we use capital F of theta as a trigonometric function, so any trigonometric function, we take the absolute value of capital F of theta 1, that's going to be equal to the absolute value of the any trigonometric function of theta 2, which is equal to the absolute value of the trigonometric function of alpha. Right? Now, so using this equation here and the fact that alpha is equal to what? How can we also say what alpha is? Alpha is the same as what? 180 degrees minus theta 2. So we can add that to the fact too. So 180 minus alpha, or excuse me, 180 minus theta 2. And so we can conclude that the value of any trigonometric function of any second quadrant angle, again, we're just talking about second quadrant angles at this point, is this. That we can take f of theta 2, right? So we could take, let me write it this way. So we take the, we can take f of theta 2, so again, f of theta 2, and that's going to equal plus or minus what? Plus or minus f of 180 minus theta 2, right? Okay, that's true, right? F of theta 2 is equal to plus or minus f of 180 minus f of 2. That's sort of the same lines that we have here, which is also equal to plus or minus f of alpha. So now let's do an example. Have a great day.